Public affairs, politics, opinions, and discussion. This is The Issue on YourTV. I'm Mark Carr, and on this edition of The Issue, we'll be having a look at small businesses who are experiencing very challenging times during COVID-19. But first, my co-host today is Region and City Councillor for Ward 6, Angelo Bentivegna. How's everyone doing at the Bentivegna household, Angelo?
Everyone's great. Thank you very much, Mark. Same, hopefully on your end as well. Yeah, we're doing well. Hunkering down and doing what we got to do.
Good, good. Well, let's get right to it, and I'll turn it over to you to introduce our guests for today.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to do a little quick preamble. As our guests, we have two longtime business people. Both are very, very, very great corporate citizen in terms of supporting the community and so on and so forth. We'll have Al's Sports Shop and Pat's Party Rental. So I'll start with Al's Sports Shop and Chris. Chris's business has been around for 54 years. It's a second generation business, and I can go on and on and on. It'll take a half hour to go through his the whole process, how he got there, but certainly great. 54 years is a long time for small business, and again, second generation. We'll get into it more. And we have Paul Storey, who is with Pat's Party Rental, and again, second generation business. Great corporate citizen in terms of supporting the community, and I look forward to having the discussion on this third lockdown.
Third lockdown, yeah. Well, gentlemen, nice to have you on the show today. And maybe I'll start with Paul. Your business must have been impacted greatly by this virus. How have you been able to cope with it?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Yes, this has been really, really tough year for us, our business, our staff, our customers, everybody. We went from looking forward to 2020 being probably the best year we've ever had in business. On the wedding side, a lot of young couples wanted to get married in 2020. That's just a significant date, significant number for them. So we went from really high highs in the beginning of the year, lots of bookings, and preparing for a really busy summer. And we literally closed the doors, as most did. And we weren't really able to take advantage of much in the beginning. We had months of nothing, pondering the future, wondering what to do, and but we're still here. There's been a lot of ups and downs, as you say, third lockdown, but we've done the best we can. It's been quiet though. It's been very quiet. A few spikes last summer, but it's been quiet. So.
And Chris, how have you been coping with COVID?
Well, thanks for having me. And as we say here, we're more so treading water this year. So trying to keep our head above water. It's definitely had an impact on our business. Our business is down 53% year to date. The toughest part of that is we're really at the hands of the government until things do get better and they open sports back up so kids can get back to playing some type of, reasonable hockey or lacrosse or any other type of sports. Most of the products in our store are somewhat useless, to be very honest with you. So no, as Paul said, it's been a real challenge. I got to be honest with you, the third one's been a bit easier than the first two, just because we're prepared for it now. We know what to do. We know the protocols in place. In terms of the panic, we're not really panicking this time around, but no, our business has been hard hit, just like many of the other small business owners in our community and across the country, for sure.
Angelo?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'll start with, I'll go the other way. I'll go start with Chris here. So Chris, this is the third lockdown that we've had since this pandemic started. And you still go to work every day doing what you got to do. Walk us through when you open those doors and you look in your store and you turn the lights on, what goes through your mind? walk us through what a small business owner does when he walks in and knows that no one else is walking in with him.
The first bit, there's fear. That's what I would say, just in terms of, we didn't really know what the virus was about. We, although we knew we had to close the doors, we knew we had to shut everything down, we were trusting our government and doing what we were told to do. But there's a lot of fear. I think those are the times where people, if they're ordering pizzas, they were taking the boxes in the garage and taking the pizzas out of the boxes and putting them in the oven to cook off anything. It was just crazy times. Now, it's not so much the fear factor. We know what to do. We know what the recommendations are. We know how to stay safe. However, it's a little frustrating that our doors have to be closed, and we see other big box stores with their doors open on a regular basis. Although now it's different than the first two lockdowns, but the first two lockdowns was basically business as usual at these stores. So all of our customers are flocking to the similar location, where instead of having them spread out amongst hundreds of thousands of small business owners across the country, they're congregating in one setting where they have huge lineups out the door and then huge congregation inside the store. So it's just a little frustrating in terms of that. But yeah, this time it went from, I guess, from a fear to a frustration pretty quick.
Thanks for that, Chris. And Paul, I'm just going to spin that question to you because Chris actually has inventory that other stores have had and they could sell. In your particular case, you are primarily in the rental business, tents, weddings, parties. How has that affected? Obviously, people can't be doing parties and weddings. We know that. But what have you done to change your business or to get that extra edge because you couldn't do anything that you were doing before?
Yeah, well, in the beginning, like Chris said, fear was a big word around here. It was just something that we'd never experienced. We really went from 34 years of business and looking at a great year, being kicked back to what it looked like probably in the first year or two when my mom worked here on her own, to go from 30 staff in the summer to 0. It's really hard. We did try a couple of different things in the beginning. We actually were doing garbage removal runs to the dump for people, anything we could do to keep the trucks moving, and some staff on the payroll, because it's a family business and staff feel like family, and we feel bad for everybody. As much as we do for our own families, everyone has to put food on the table. So we looked, what can we do with the equipment we have? But it's really hard. We are built on social gatherings. That's our business. If you can't get together, we're not essential, really. So that was really hard to feel not needed after 30 something years of doing great work in the community and large events. Angelo, we've been involved with some events with yourself. So it was really hard. Thankfully, we have a large tent inventory. Any rental company that does not have tents, I feel bad for them, because that's probably been the only thing that's really kind of gone in and out. That's been hard too. Like with restaurants, they'll rent a tent for a patio. A month later, it's lockdown. They don't want it. Do we leave it there? It's sitting out in the winter unpaid. It's been a real challenge, but we've done some work for recently. We've had tents up at vaccine sites. We do get some corporate work, some tents outside of, say, warehouses for lunch rooms, waiting areas, screening areas, that kind of thing. It's not enough, but we do get a little bit. So that's really what our year has looked like.
Both of you have alluded to your staff, and they must be going through exactly what you're going through with the fear and so on. Let's start with Chris. How is your staff coping with the lockdowns and the lack of business?
Yeah, well, for us, we're I don't know how to, well, we're kind of in a split demographic. So we have a few retirees working here. Angelo's good friends with one of them. And so thankfully, they're kind of using this as it's different in terms of what they need the income for, maybe at the point of life where they're at. So although it's difficult for them, I'm sure, they're just at a bit of a different spot in their life. And then we have a lot of young students. So the challenging thing there, or the frustrating thing, is these students have become, I kind of think they become a bit reliant on us to give them these hours, to support them in their endeavors so they can save their money to go to colleges or universities and work for us in the summers. And this is probably going to be for another complete summer where we're not going to be able to employ these kids. So, they're trying to find other jobs, and I hope they can, and they do. The frustrating part is, like, for so long, they're saying, like, well, what do you think is going to happen? And, are we going to get some hours? Are we going to be able to come back to work? And last year and this year as well, we just really don't know. And I think it's just that they're starting to see a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, but it's been a challenging time for all of our staff. And we've got a great staff here where we, as Paul mentioned earlier, like they really do become like a family. Like we try to treat them like family, and it's hard, like to look people in the eye, or to give them a call or send an email and saying, hey, we've got to lock down again. So unfortunately, it's just going to be myself here working for the next 4 weeks, which turned into 6 weeks. And it's humbling, it's challenging, and it's hard just to lay your staff off like that after they've done so much for us over the years. And unfortunately, it's out of our hands at this point.
And Paul, you've got some work, but not enough work to keep everyone employed, obviously. So how are your staff coping with this?
Yeah, no, there's clearly not enough work for us. I mean, we're, Chris mentioned a number, I think, decrease. I mean, we're probably 80% on the year. Like that's huge. That's huge. So there's really not a lot of work right now. It's sporadic. We've been fortunate where we've had a few restaurant contracts, but they're every month or two, someone comes along, or someone we know in our network, we get some business through them. But it's not enough for daily. So I have a few people that are just, they're basically on call, and I love them for that, because they're hanging on with me. I'm fortunate that those people don't have, big mortgages, or, need that full-time work at the moment. And they understand the situation. So I'm thankful for that. I have a few other staff that, I only have one staff really on right now, and she's working from home. We've been told that's how to handle the situation now. So she's doing that. And like I say, I've got a few guys I can call on, but the problem for me, which I also faced last year, last year I kind of called it the summer of CERB. Honestly, I encountered, when I did need people, like we do every summer, it's not that hard to find them. Sometimes it takes a little bit of digging. Last year, it was extremely hard to find, the young guys, girls out of college wanting the summer job. When we did have a chance to do some business in July, August, September, we couldn't find anybody. I felt like nobody really wanted to work, especially when they knew it was a seasonal business, which is a lot in this area, in our country. So I think people didn't want to work. They didn't want to give up their CERB, which was frustrating, very frustrating. So now when summer 21 comes, if we do get another shot at it, which fingers crossed, hopefully we do, I think it's going to be real challenging to try and find staff. So there's so many challenges right now. It's overwhelming some days. It is.
So Chris, quick question here regarding this pandemic. One thing we have all learned is obviously we've had to change the way we do business. We've also learned that, for example, there's new things that have happened because of COVID. So for example, curbside pickup is now in the dictionary, whereas before we didn't know what curbside pickup was. It was, we used to call it takeout. Talk to us about what the future of your business is right now with things like curbside pickup, the new marketing schemes that you've had to do to get to your customers, and to keep your business front row center over the last 14, 15 months. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so from my store standpoint, I guess I'll take it in two different directions. In terms of curbside pickup, before the pandemic, like as you said, what was never really a thing. Like no one wait outside for us to come and put something in the trunk of their car. It was an option, but no one ever needed it. So in terms of an online presence, I'm part of a buying group, a Source for Sports. So it's Al's Source for Sports. Our buying group last year, about a month into this, realized that our online capabilities in terms of, what we could provide there and our presence was nowhere where close to where it needed to be. So as a group, we got on a big Zoom call, just like what we're doing now, but with much more participants, and basically decided that we need to revamp this website. Although it wasn't ideal in terms of putting more money into something at the time when we were all struggling, we also knew that, if this thing goes on for a bit longer, then we need to be prepared for this. So within the next month or so, we should have a much better online presence in terms of e-commerce. So that's kind of one direction that we're going in as a group and as a store, obviously, as well. But the flip side of that, though, in terms of my particular industry, it's one thing to order like a table or something online or an electronic device or something like that. But for 80% of the goods, I just make that number up, but 80-ish% of the goods that we sell in our store, you physically need to try them on, or people might not need to, but they want to. They want to try on a different skate or two to see which one feels best on their foot. They want to try on a helmet or so to make sure that it fits properly. Gloves, what are the difference between different manufacturers and models and that? So although e-commerce is obviously something that needs to be focused on, for our particular store, in-store experience in terms of trying goods on and finding that right fit and feel is crucial to the goods that I sell. So that obviously poses a challenge as we go through this pandemic.
Thanks for that, Chris. And Paul, from your standpoint, it's more difficult to do curbside pickup. You can't throw the 17 pieces of tents to put up and have curbside pickup. So how have you managed, what have you done to pivot or change your style of business? You mentioned picking up garbage and sending it dump, to create some revenue. What other things have you done or are you looking at doing moving forward?
Yeah, well, so yeah, like last year, that was just a bit of a, we were trying to keep the trucks going and the guys going, let's offer, we'll go to your house, pick up your old mattress, take to dump for you. It actually was surprising how many people actually went for that. We didn't really create much revenue out of it. It was just a trial. Really what happened was my insurance company jumped in and said, no, right? More money, because it was a shift in business they didn't understand. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, we're not becoming a garbage dump business. It was just a fill-in. So anyways, that went. In June or July, I started another business doing lawn signs for birthdays and celebrations called greetingyards.ca. That has taken off. So I partnered with a local sign shop, Astor Print, Joel McLean, and we do that together. Now we've done 250 or so lawns since July. So that has been, I wouldn't have done that. I think if we weren't in lockdown and my brain wasn't going, what can I do? Now that hasn't helped the rental business. That's just really kept me busy. I've started another side job business. That's already starting to get a bit too much. So when the rental comes back, I have to decide where we're going. We're selling territories for that now. Not a franchise, but we're selling territories for that. So we've sold 3 so far. So that's been exciting. That's been good. As far as the rental business, more focused on the tent side. We did learn this year that if we didn't have any tent inventory, we would have probably had 0 business. So it's a bittersweet year. We've taken on extra debt in our business. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm very honest about that. I think people should understand what small businesses go through. We're also investing in new equipment. So it's bittersweet. It's, you have to keep going. I'm a very positive guy. I love my business. I love my industry. And we're just going to keep pushing forward. And we do see possibly some changes coming down the road. There's a few things I'm not going to jump on right now. But it could be, I'm contemplating, do we need a showroom anymore? All that, like Chris talked about e-commerce and the way you sell your business to people, or how they find you, or how they put an order in. It's all changing. We have this real estate. We have 20,000 square feet that we rent. It's a lot of building to rent. So I'm looking at how can we maybe scale back on that. But it's really been made us look at the business hard, and there's some changes. There are some silver linings and everything. I'm a big believer in that. So we just got to hang on and make it through. Everybody.
So, so Chris, interesting to listen to Paul and how he has readjusted his business model. Do you find that your business, will it permanently change due to COVID? Or are there things that you're doing that you want to continue doing that you never thought of?
Yeah, so our basic business model, I think, will remain consistent once we finally get out of the pandemic, in terms of, you know, selling and servicing hockey goods and sporting goods and lacrosse. Have we tweaked it a little bit? Sure. Like we jumped on inline skates, like just about everyone else in sporting goods industry in Canada has done. We brought in a line called Yeti. Maybe you're familiar with it, in terms of drinkware and coolers and stuff like that. So really, those are the two items. That's really all we're selling right now, is those two items, and they're doing okay. They're you know, they're putting a bit of money in the till every day. In terms of learning from COVID, in terms of kind of like what Paul was saying, sure. Like I think anyone who comes out of this pandemic as a small business owner is going to be a stronger small business than they were going into it. And what I mean by that is you're forced to take a real hard look at your business and really make some hard decisions in terms of you know, expenditures, payroll, staffing, hours of operation, online presence. Like, just, it really kind of, you know, I guess it kind of made you take a real hard look at internally at your own business. And I truly believe that at the end of this, once we come out of it, we're going to be stronger ourselves.
And Paul, let me ask you, are you happy with what the federal or provincial government are doing, and could they be doing more to help you survive better in this environment?
Well, I will say that I've taken advantage of the rent subsidy and the wage subsidy. I think those programs have been really, really great. Could they be more? Of course, they're not 100%, but I think that's asking a lot to get 100%. It's frustrating, you know, when you look back and say none of us wanted this or asked for this or brought it on. You know, we're running a good business. We've been a part of the community a long time, like all the businesses around here, all across the country. And it's a lot of challenges thrown in your face real quickly. The support has been good. I think, you know, I can speak from my personal situation. Our industry, especially just rental, was just rental. It's been obliterated. It's, you know, we're built on social gatherings. We don't really have a community around us that's pushing, let's say, like the restaurants. We have all the takeout and the curbside, and everybody's behind them, and I support all of them as well. I love them. I know all the restaurant owners here. I've been in the city a long time. I've done business with all of them, but we don't have any kind of sort of support like that in our rental business. So I feel a little bit alone sometimes that way. We do have the CFIB behind us, and we have our rental association. I think there could be more done, 100%. But I'm happy with what we've been given. So
I wanted to ask this question before we run out of time. We've got about 3 minutes left. So I'm going to ask the same question to both of you. I've known you guys for many years. You're both second generation operators in your own businesses, handed down. Let's talk about the future and maybe this third generation of moving the businesses over. Chris, let's start with you, Chris. And what are you seeing? What's the crystal ball that you're seeing?
Oh, that's a tough question. So from, you know, thinking from the heart, it would be great for, you know, for I got 3 young kids. So it would be great to keep it in the family and, you know, keep this business going to a third generation. That's a nice notion. That being said, as a parent, is it the right thing for my kids? And I guess that'll be yet to be seen. Retail from my particular market has changed drastically over the last 10, 15 years, and it's changing quicker and quicker now. So it might not take, you know, 10, 15 years for it to change that much once again. So Is it the right venture for them? Who knows? That'll be kind of for them to decide if they are interested in something like that. It's just I just hope if they do decide to go that run that route, I should say, that they have the run that I've had. And what I mean by that is, obviously it's a lot of work and effort, but there's a significant reward, both financially but offering me the time to be there for my kids and my family and go to hockey games, go to dance competitions, and go to do things like that. So being self-employed is great, but it also comes with a lot of challenges as well. And hopefully the risk and reward pays off for them.
Great family, Chris. I just wanted to mention that. And I know your dad was there for many, many years, and your mom's always been a big supporter. So thank you for that. Paul, same question, Paul.
In about 2 minutes. That's all the time we've got left.
Sure. I'll make it quick. I don't think either of my kids will be in this business. How's that? No, my oldest is a university graduate. Youngest still in high school. I don't believe they will be in the business. I would welcome it, but a lot of changes will happen in this business for me to pass it along to them. A lot of lessons this year, and I just think the way it's situated right now, it's not the ideal situation. I just think a lot of changes are happening and are going to happen. So I would make sure that they're in a good position if they were to come in, but I don't think they will.
Okay, I really do appreciate both of you, you gentlemen, coming on today, and I'd like to thank them one more time. Chris McMillan from Al's Source for Sports and Paul Storey from Pat's Party Rental, and of course my co-host, Regional and City Councillor for Ward 6, Angelo Bentivegna. You can watch The Issue Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. with repeats throughout the week on channel 700. I'm Mark Carr for The Issue on YourTV. Truly local. Stay safe.
Thanks for having me.
And stay safe and healthy, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Guys,
Nice to see you
thank you.
guys.